So Dev, how were you as a recruiter when you started?
I'm very curious, very ambitious.
So to me or to our audience, we really would wanted to know how Devvrat's day look like.
So I get up very early at 5:30, hit my CrossFit, come back, get my coffee, go to the office.
Networking is networking. That was, I think, really amazing.
Fantastic, love the energy here.
Coffee or a tea?
Coffee person.
Early riser or night owl?
Early riser, love discipline.
Is there any key point in your career where you felt that okay, this is my turning point and now?
So there are a lot of turning points I have in my life, and I think I remember the first team I built from scratch that taught me the importance of culture. Karmane vaddika raste ma phalesu kadachan. Right, this is a very great phase from our religious book.
Hello everyone, this is Malvika from Rang Technologies. Please join me in another episode of Rang Unplugged, where we have somebody who is encouraging, inspiring, someone we all look up to. Please join me in welcoming Devvrat Patel.
Thank you so much for having me, Malvika. I'm very excited to have this conversation.
Hey, hi Dev, how have you been?
Fantastic, love the energy here. So I'm very glad to be here.
That's lovely, that's lovely. So Dev, can you tell me a bit about your journey, how it all started and how it shaped you?
My journey started very simple. I'm very curious, very ambitious. Always had a desire to build something meaningful. I didn't come from privilege, but I came from discipline, hard work, and just hunger. Overall, in my 13-14 years of career, I've learned one thing, that in this industry, there is no replacement of hard work. So just be hungry, be focused. And that's how my journey started. I'm very, I always say this is like my bonus life, what I do every single day.
So to me or to our audience, we really would wanted to know how Devvrat's day look like.
So, as I said, I'm very disciplined, love working out. So I get up very early at 5:30, hit my CrossFit, come back, get my coffee, go to the office. And then I always plan my week, not just day. So my week is like, I always have I work on Sunday, I love working on Sunday, and not because okay, hey, it's important, because it gives me the entire week's pipeline. Right? So I make my priority on Sunday. I analyze, okay, hey, how my calendar would look like. Very organized. So I put all my meetings on my calendar, every single thing. So I exactly know where I'm spending my time, what time I have to analyze, what time I have to give my other people, what time I have to go for a meeting outside, what am I meeting. And so I'm very organized. In short, weekends as well, I see, as I said, if you want to be very successful, your mind works 365 days, right? And it's not about hey, I'm doing something, but what are you getting? In our business, it's all about networking, right? When you are not in your regular 8 to 5 or 9 to 6, what are you doing to help your 9 to 6 more successful? I focus more on that piece.
So Dev, how were you as a recruiter when you started?
So as a recruiter, when I joined, right? So I think when I started my career, I was not that smart. So if people takes 10 hours to do 50 calls, it took me 16 hours to do 80 calls. So I realized very early that if I'm not smart, what I have is hardworking. So I always spend extra time just to learn more. I mean, as a recruiter, I always tell these people that the more you call, the more you learn. Because every single call will make you learn something, and the candidate's gonna help you a lot. So as a recruiter, I literally dial a lot of calls. I think I still love to dial call. I mean, I can still recruit. If you throw me a requirement, I would love to find a candidate. That's the passion. I think that keeps me going in this industry. Secondly is be very eager to learn. I mean, do the purpose. I always tell people hey, you just don't call somebody without reading the job description, because somebody would not feel valued. So I learned this in a very early age, thanks to my mentors, my colleagues, that the why of the job is very important. So as a recruiter, when I started, I realized, okay, hey, if I'm calling somebody, why am I calling somebody? Right? And there's a difference between hey, I have a job, versus hey, what do you want to add the value? So I think I cracked the code very early in my first year of recruiting about this aspect, and that kept me going very fast.
Let's say I'm a recruiter. I aspire to become a lead or a manager one day. What advice would you give?
So it depends on multiple areas. Not every recruiters wants to be a leader, or not every recruiter would be a successful leader, or not a successful recruiter would be a successful leader. It's always your core skills. Like if you want to be a leader, be genuinely empathetic to people. Like it's not like, I always say like, hey, it doesn't matter that you need a title of a manager or a lead to teach somebody who is new to your team, right? It always comes within. So if you want to be a leader, right, just make sure that you have that empathy towards people. If you want to be a leader, make sure that you are doing your self-analysis. If you can analyze your own data, you can analyze the team's data. If you're leading from the front, right, then only you can lead somebody else. So it's a mixture of a lot of different things, and I always see that it's not like somebody say like, oh, leadership cannot be taught, it's within. No, I don't believe in that. Nowadays, anybody can learn any single thing.
Also, I really would wanted to learn it from you. Is there any key point in your career where you felt that, okay, this is my turning point, and now that is something that, yes, I have done or I have achieved something?
So there are a lot of turning points I have in my life, and I think I remember the first team I built from scratch that taught me the importance of culture. My early role transition into leadership, I got promoted very early in my career. That taught me to think beyond myself. Another key point which I really believe it, and that helped me, is when I joined Rang Technologies. The trust which it was shown in me when I joined, the impact I have to bring, and the result which I am seeing right now, I think that something has really helped me.
Also, now if you look back, what do you see? I mean, was it all worth it?
100%. Never thought that I would be here, and that's what I always tell people as well. Like, don't think much, just act, just do. Every single day, come and do your hard work. I did the same thing. I never thought like I would come so far. But yeah, one thing at a day is something I always believe, that you give your best. What you have done yesterday, just make sure you do better. It could be like one small like phone call. If you, as a recruiter, I've done like 80 calls. I'll make sure that today I do 81 call, but with more precision, more better quality, and more candidate experience. And that's how it matters.
So as you mentioned Rang Technologies, so it's been 11 months, and to me, I think since the day you have joined here, I've been really seeing many energies and everything coming from you. How do you see, I mean, in next 5 years?
See, the moment I joined, because I saw a huge vision when I met the founders, Dilip, Jigar, spoke to Ronak in my transition, like when I was joining back, and what this 3 people has built up in the company by just 3 of them, and such a huge culture, such a huge ecosystem which they have built, that gave me an motivation, that gave me a vision, like how we can have more such people joining in the core team and create more verticals. That would be a huge amount of growth we can have. So that gave me an inspiration to do something bigger. I know there are a lot of challenges, and I love complexity, I love challenges. So that's where I joined. I realized, okay, what I have to do. And I was very sure. I mean, the one thing I always tell, and I always talk about, that you always need somebody to talk about how it's going. I always talk to my wife, and we always discuss like, I'm glad that I made this decision. And I've seen very less founders who shown such a big trust to their employee, who just join, and then give them more empowerment to do changes, and
Correct.
with a more confidence. We have seen, like, we have done a lot of brainstorming exercise together, me, Jigar, Ronak, Dilip, and then the way we all come to a conclusion, that gives me more energy to do extra, and like, okay, hey, you know what, we are going in the right direction.
Correct.
I think that has been one of my very impactful journey. So
Correct.
imagine if we do continuous doing this for next 5 years, I think the sky is the limit.
I wanted to understand, what's that one principle that you would, as being a leader, you would never wanted to compromise on?
I think it's integrity. I mean, I always believe that skills can be taught, integrity cannot.
And what advice would you give to those who would wanted to grow their career with Rang Technologies? Would they be having that opportunities to grow here?
100%. I mean, the moment I also joined with the same mindset, because the way we are growing, the growth is enormous in our, I mean, the growth is so huge in our company right now, because every area is not that much touched. And the way we are growing, I always see people has the opportunity. But I always see like the career is in your hand, right? If you ask me that, hey, my manager or my leader should come and tell me like, hey, do you want to get promoted? And he's like, yeah. That's the wrong approach. We don't build the company like this over here. I always tell these people, I think the way we are working with the leaders and the way we are working with the company, it's like, if you want to grow, it's in your hand. If you want to get a career, it's in your hand. You come and ask us what you want. So as far as you're doing your job and you are putting that efforts to be successful, this is the company where you can grow like anything.
Also, I wanted to learn it from you. I mean, who inspires you in professional as well as personal life?
My family, for sure. I got inspired by my parents, how they worked hard, how they raised me. It always taught me like what to do. And specifically my wife, I've seen her, like she inspires me every day, how she has been more successful. And I think you always, and this is, I always say this, I think I put this in one of our Monday success story as well, that you are an average of 5 people surrounded by you. So your surrounding matters the most. And personally, I'm surrounded by my wife, my few friends, my close circle. So that always inspires me. And professionally, I'm surrounded by the founders and every one of us, every one of you guys. So that makes me inspired in every single way. I've seen, like yesterday I was seeing somebody like sitting extra, doing hard work. I asked like, hey, why are you still here? And like, no, there's a requirement, so I want to work on it. That inspired me, like how in an early age as well, somebody is very focused to think about business first. That inspires me. So inspiration is like, it's in everybody's eye, how you want to take it. Either you take it in a inspirational way or you take it in a different way. So for me personally and professionally, this is how I get inspirations.
I think you're already leading one of the business units right now. What would you aspire to do next?
So interesting question, Malvika. I think what I would not say like what next, I would say what more. I think first of all, I want to see how we can create an ecosystem, right? I want to focus on creating this ecosystem where anybody joins, right? That the footprint is so clear and so better that if somebody joins, exactly know, hey, what I would do next week, what I would do next month, what I would do next quarter, what I would get if I would complete this 1 year, what I can do if I stay with this company for next 2 years, how I would grow continuously. I think that ecosystem is something I want to touch next. And with that, because anybody who comes, nowadays everybody is very goal oriented. And we as a company also wanted to be very clear, like, hey, if you're joining us, it's always a two-way street. It's not like, hey, you work hard and we're gonna come and tell you, like, you know what, this is what you have achieved. It's always gonna be two-street. If you're joining me, I would join the same perspective. If you come saying, hey, I want to be a recruiter, or I want to be a salesperson, I want to be a leader, we'll tell you exactly how. That what and how will be very clear, and that's the more thing I would definitely be more impactful on that.
So Dev, what advice would you give to the newcomers who aspires to be in United States one day, also wanted to follow a clear path like you?
I mean, as I was telling you in my introduction, that I started my career the very simple way, right? So if I always say this, if I have achieved it, anybody can. I'm sure there are a lot of hardworking people more than me. A lot of people are like more hunger, more focus. But the key is consistency, right? Everybody, like people nowadays get very easily influenced or easily get inspired. Like if I would watch a movie or if I watch a sports, like, hey, I'm going to do the same thing tomorrow. I watch a movie like, oh, I'm going to hit the gym tomorrow. But then I'm going to hit for 3-4 days and like, you know what? It's good now. Let me just take a break. That's where people lose. The only advice I would give to people is be very consistent. Rome was not built in a day. It took years. Same way, just be very consistent each day, every day, and then within no time, because it becomes your habit, you can follow the same step or maybe go much more higher, much more smarter. But if it took me 10 years, 15 years to be where am I, with this guidance, with this mentorship, which this ecosystem what we are creating, I want that newcomer to achieve the same thing in less 50%, like in 7 years, 8 years. That would be my goal. That's the impact, meaningful impact I want to make in my career.
So keep going is something that you would more emphasize on, and consistency is something that we should look up to.